Can hyper-casual games make enough money to replace a job? To know the answer to this question, I will be challenging myself to publish 4 games in the next 4 months on Play Store and show how much revenue they make in a month's time. I have been a solo developer since a long time now, but still haven't published a single game on Play Store due to some major mistakes I have been making in my development process. We will talk about these mistakes later in the video. Anyways, this time I will be putting a 1-month constraint on myself for a game and make sure I finish them and publish them on Play Store. This video will be divided into 3 sections, and let me now tell you what is this challenge properly in the first section of the video. So the duration of this challenge is going to be between 4 to 6 months, in which I will be developing 4 games. In this duration, one game will be given 1 month's development time, in which I will have to completely finish the game from its mechanics and art to its music, level and even advertisements. I'm only saying that it may take 6 months for this challenge to be completed because of the time required after the development of the game, like for writing scripts, recording voiceovers, video editing, and lastly publish approvals from Play Store and etc. The game's development period will be limited to 1 month only. Keep in mind that I will be uploading one devlog video per game and not weekly videos like I did for my last game which I dropped. Why? I will tell you this in the mistakes section of the video I talked about earlier. But I also cannot just disappear for a month every time, so I will be uploading updates of the game on my social media and also maybe on YouTube Shorts. To make it simple, I summarize this challenge into 4 rules. 1 month to 1 game, no pre-made art or music assets to save time, 1 full devlog for 1 game, and lastly game status updates every 3 days on Instagram or Shorts maybe. Now moving on to the next section. Cause I have very recently became a graduate and also unemployed. Well, it's not just that. As I mentioned before, I have been developing games since a long time now, but I still consider myself a beginner developer because I am still yet to finish a project from start to the end due to the mistakes that I made in my journey till now. And instead of making a list of mistakes like any other person, let's go through my previous games and see the mistakes I made firsthand. The name of the first game was Dungeon Mania, which I started developing after my internship, and I would work on this game every time I got free time after my college. It was a roguelike in which a random dungeon was generated at the start with multiple rooms filled with enemies. Once all the enemies in a room were defeated, gates to the other room opened. But when you think about it, in order to make it a unique experience every time the player plays, I needed a huge collection of assets, weapons, maps, enemies, characters, abilities, etc. This all kinda overwhelmed me, and I paused the game's development till I had my college finished, as I needed a lot of time for this project. The mistakes I made in this project? Overscoping. This is a pretty common mistake that most of the developers make and overestimate themselves, and I am no stranger to that. My next game was Survive as a God. I won't give too much information on this game as I really plan on finishing this and publishing it later. Plus I already have a devlog series on this game which I may continue after this challenge. Anyways, this is another game I paused development of just a few months ago. It is inspired from Vampire Survivors and was being developed for mobile devices, where the player chooses from various abilities as he levels up by killing the enemies. The game had multiple weapon system, basic enemy AI, random abilities upon level up, and upgrade system with enemy dropouts. Done. Almost all the basic foundations required for the game, done with some fixes needed here and there. But the biggest problem I faced in the development of this game was the devlogging I was doing. I chose to commit to weekly devlogs, which I really regretted later. I thought I would work on the game 5 days a week and edit the videos in the remaining 2 days. I highly underestimated the task of editing and at last found myself editing the video more than working on the game. Mistake? It was improper planning and lack of deadlines. Well, there still may be some other major mistakes I normally make while making video games, which I am yet to realize, but I know I will face them all in this challenge. Anyways, now that we understand the past mistakes that I have made, let us discuss how we are gonna avoid them in this challenge in the next section. So the first thing, a proper plan will be made with weekly deadlines before the start of the development process. In this plan, I will make a proper list of realistic objectives to complete in a week to put me under constant pressure of missing the deadline and failing the challenge. I will also be allocating time for working on my art and music skills in a day. Moving on, in order to avoid overscoping, I chose to develop hyper-casual games so that the main focus will be on mechanics and not on story or huge collection of assets. The games I will be making are going to be highly inspired from games already on Play Store. I will of course make some changes in them, but yeah, a lot of mechanics will be similar. This will allow me to get better at analyzing games as well, while also saving me time in brainstorming. This time I will not constrain myself to weekly devlogs. And lastly, once the 4 games are done and dusted, one game will be chosen to be developed further according to you guys. But of course for this, I will need people to watch the videos I upload. So if you have watched the video this far, do make sure to subscribe or at least like the video. Anyways, this marks the end of the introductory video. The challenge begins as soon as this video is up on YouTube. See you guys next month.